This is the NSPN Prep Update, a weekly look at scores, highlights, and stories from across the state. We go to the NSPN studios. Here's your host, Ryan Phelps.
Hello and welcome to the NSPN Prep Update for December 1st. Coming up on today's show, we'll have a full slate of hockey highlights with some overtime thrillers. And basketball is off to a fast start. We will check in with some early season leaders. Our feature this week takes us under the bright lights and a school snapshot where they should earn frequent flyer miles with all their recent trips to state. But we start with hockey. The boys' season is off to a fast start, and we got a chance to get an early season look at the defending champion Spuds.
Moorhead versus Warroad, an old school Section 8 battle. Moorhead controlled, but Warroad hung around until late third period. Michael Herman passes to Evan Warner, who goes top left corner from the slot to give the Spuds breathing room for the final minutes. Moorhead wins 5-3 over Warroad. Hermantown versus Hill Murray. Pioneers down by 1, halfway through the third period. John Whistler with the steal in the Pioneer defensive zone, gets control at neutral ice, and passes near side to Ryland DeMars, who rings one off the left post for the goal. They play a scoreless overtime, and this one ends in a 2-2 tie. Gentry Academy versus Benilde St. Margaret's. How about this for the Red Knights' first game of the season? An overtime thriller in St. Louis Park. Keegan Davis' shot comes back on the power play. He passes to Grayson Quirk, who uses the quick thinking and leaping from Donovan Madsen to get the game winner, 5-4 BSM. Hibbing Chisholm versus Cloquet. Blue Jackets leading and on the power play. Big fight for the puck behind the net. To Dylan Vessel on the near side, then pass to Ethan Sunval at the point, who gets the goal. Hibbing Chisholm wins 5-2. Breck versus St. Cloud Cathedral. Breck with a 1-goal lead in the third period. Puck taken away by Eli Milankovich in the Breck defensive zone. Pushed ahead to Garrett Trench, who feeds Colton Crook for the insurance goal. Mustangs go on to win 3-0.
It's been a decade since the Thief River Falls girls qualified for the state hockey tournament. It was 2015, their only trip to state. They won it all that year. And with a hot start this season, they might be secretly eyeing up another visit.
Roseau versus Thief River Falls. Prowlers on the attack in overtime, looking for their chance. Lila Gallagher from the far side sends a pass behind the net to Parker Olsenowski, who quickly finds Charlie Hamry for the winning goal. Prowlers now have a 4-game winning streak. Wayzata versus Benilde St. Margaret's. The Red Knight girls also go to overtime on Tuesday. BSM shorthanded. Tala Hansen steals a pass on the break with Bryn Heising, and Hansen with the great stick handling in front of the net gets the winner. 2-1 victory for BSM. Blake versus Dodge County. Tie score in Casson. Blake wins a faceoff, but the Wildcats would get the puck in the neutral zone. Maisie Cook then passes over to Taryn Wernicke, who skates across the blue line and fires into the net for the 2-1 lead. Wildcats go on to win 3-1 and are now 6-0 on the season. West Tonka versus North Shore. Quick goal from West Tonka. Bree Kohler touches the loose puck and leaves it for Georgia Harmer before the goalie could see what happened. West Tonka led 3-0 after 1 and wins 7-1 over North Shore. Gentry Academy versus Cretin-Durham Hall. Very close contest that was scoreless in regulation. Late in overtime, with both sides fighting through exhaustion. Cretin tries to clear, but intercepted at the blue line by Kaylee Sachs, who takes the shot. It may have been deflected, but either way, the Stars get the game winner. 1-0 is the final. Bemidji versus Benilde St. Margaret's. Two teams facing off Saturday that have had great starts to their season. Off a faceoff, Benilde can't clear, and Millie Knott picks up the puck at the blue line and skates in for a point-blank shot. That turns out to be the game winner. 3-1 the final. Bemidji is 7-0, and BSM loses for just the second time this season. We've reached the first intermission, but don't go anywhere. Coming up on the NSPN Prep Update, we will hit center stage down south, plus a school snapshot where homecoming lives up to the hype. But first, it's trivia time. Who holds the record for most career points in Minnesota basketball history? I want boys and girls. The answer, plus hoops highlights after the break.
New journey.
Division 3 straight to Division 1.
New energy. Same standard.
The Tommies have climbed to the peak of the summit.
And your Pioneer Football League champions wear purple and gray.
No limits. Welcome to St. Thomas Athletics.
Support your teams and community with NSPN.TV. Enjoy exclusive coverage from summer town ball to high school championships. Plus, feature stories and podcasts that bring you closer to the action. Stay connected with NSPN.TV, your neighborhood sports network.
Welcome back to the NSPN Prep Update. I'm Ryan Phelps. Your trivia question was, who holds the record for most career points in Minnesota basketball history? The answer, for the boys, Anders Broman of Lakeview Christian Academy up in Duluth. He tallied 5,119 points from 2008 through 13. At that same time, just a little south of the Twin Ports, Rebecca Dahlman of Bram scored 5,060.
That record is likely to fall this year as both Madden Greenway and Tori Orline are hot on her tail. We'll keep tabs on them this year as both are nearly even and within 500 points of Dahlman. Let's take a look at some other girls hoops action from this week.
Zumbrota Mazeppa versus Byron. Season opener for the Bears, who had to shake a little rust off early, but Madison Ohm takes an Ella Nelson pass and buries a three-pointer to tie the score. Bears go on to win 60-38. Rosemount versus Woodbury. Irish ahead in the second half, but Amisha Ramalal still putting in the work. She gets the steal, saves the ball from going out of bounds, then takes the feed from Gianna Carpentier to knock down a three-pointer. Rosemount wins 92-59. Chanhassen versus Monticello. Tight back and forth game goes into overtime. Monticello with a chance to ice it at the foul line. Abby Ruda's foul shot is missed, so Chanhassen has a chance to tie, but Kate Arnold's three is blocked by Addison Ruda, and the Magic win 84-81. First win of the season for Monticello, first loss for Chanhassen. Hill Murray versus Delano. After Ashley Wilson hit a pair of free throws to give Hill Murray the lead, they needed to hold on. Delano inbounds, but Abby Patella draws the double team. Ashley Wilson and Maya Wilson stand tall, and Ashley Wilson grabs the loose ball to seal the Pioneer win, 86-84.
Competition comes in all forms at the high school level, even on stage. The one-act play season started up this week with auditions all across the state. But once the roles are cast, the real competition begins. Here's one from the archive.
We learned in the 1989 film Field of Dreams that if you build it, they will come. The phrase has been used countless times in commercials and promos in the 30 years since.
It took a really long time, it felt like, to get it all done. And as you walk into school, it's kind of frustrating to see like a whole construction site on your right side, and you're just like, oh, I just want it to be done.
At Tri-City United High School, particularly the theater department, it came true.
This is amazing, like really amazing. It's a huge step up from the last auditorium that we had. There's so many new toys to play with and so many lights and so many curtains, and it's amazing.
The new high school opened in 2012, but the theater remained in the old building, which is now the Montgomery Middle and Elementary Schools. The district passed a referendum for the new Performing Arts Center, and they built it, and the students came.
Of course, it just passed with our latest referendum, right? Just completed. In fact, I just got the keys today.
They opened the doors in December at the beginning of the one-act play season, and the team grew from 12 last year to the full roster of 20.
Pretty much the same as if you were to play basketball or something like that. So not too big of a stretch with that. I mean, it's not that difficult to crank out a 2-hour rehearsal.
In one-act play, one of the requirements is the entire set has to be set up and taken down in 10 minutes or less and sit in a 10x10 square, something that didn't even fit behind the curtain in the old theater.
That's definitely something that we practice along with our show, is carrying stuff on, carrying stuff off. I can sense a difference already when they get in this space. We're at that higher level. We act more professional. We're better just by being here.
TCU is performing a play called Found a Peanut, which takes place in 1960s New York City. Neighborhood kids find a bag of money and experience a range of emotions.
We love this so much. It's so much fun, and you're doing it with your friends, and everything's great.
Fitting when you consider what this program has gone through the past few years. There's still one segment left on the Prep Update. When we return, boys basketball highlights and a school snapshot with frequent trips to the bank.
There's a new destination for all things Minnesota high school sports. It's called Strib Varsity. It's from the Minnesota Star Tribune, so you know it's trusted. With a deep bench to cover all of Minnesota. We've rebuilt and relaunched our Prep hubs and added more sports. Stories, streams, stats, scores, schedules. We have it all at Strib Varsity. Subscribe today at startribune.com/stribvarsity.
Boys basketball started up this past week with the usual suspects looking to make deep runs. We had a chance to look at a blue blood with plenty of banners.
Hopkins versus White Bear Lake. Royals leading early, looking to put some distance between the teams. Greg Carter at the point with the quick pass to Xavier Frelix, who hits the three. Frelix had 19, one of 4 Royals in double figures. Hopkins wins 83-66. Some great action coming up here this week on NSPN. We're loaded on Tuesday night with girls hockey, Hill Murray versus South St. Paul. Hill Murray is undefeated and number 1 in the state. Girls basketball, 6th-ranked Benilde St. Margaret's faces St. Anthony Village. And also on Tuesday night, boys hockey with Benilde St. Margaret's taking on Armstrong Cooper. On Friday night, some boys basketball action with number 1 Wayzata facing Minneapolis Washburn. Nolan Anderson and Christian Wiggins were named to the Strib Varsity Dream Team. That's one of our Strib Varsity featured games. Same with Saturday and boys hockey as we head up north for Grand Rapids and Warroad.
It's time for our school snapshot. That's when we get to know the town, schools, and communities outside the playing field. Today, a regular at state and a recent football champion.
Orono High School, located in Long Lake, 20 miles west of US Bank Stadium. There's a small town feel, but a big crowd shows up to support the team, especially for homecoming, which is more like a town festival. They show up because they stayed home, as many students and staff are second generation. There's a big band and choir presence in the school, and art is important, with students competing at the state level in ceramics, drawing, and painting. And there's fine arts as well, as they boast a great theater program and speech and debate. But there's no debating this. Strong sports can really get the school buzzing, according to Principal Amy Steiner.
You know, we kind of joke that we always have so much disruption to our school day because so many of our teams make it to state and, things like that. And even if they don't make the state in sections and stuff, it's pretty amazing to have this many teams go to, like, the bank. It does feel like recently we've had a certain uptick certainly in sports, in terms of their presence on the scene.
That'll do it for this episode of the NSPN Prep Update. We'll be back with more next week. For Hannah, JB, and the rest of the NSPN crew, I'm Ryan Phelps, saying so long from the Neighborhood Sports Network.